this is cool. One learns something new every day. And there's Rochelle joining us too. Okay. Exciting. It's so much better to be interactive. I would love to have videos because I can see your facial expressions, but if you prefer not to, that's okay too. So Claudia, we had a bit of a WhatsApp. Do you want to talk about what you felt today on lockdown day 3?
Yeah, I've been feeling a bit of this anticipation and anxiety that the world is feeling, and in my own personal space as well.
Yeah. And my reply to you was that, because I know you, that you are already connecting to a broader field of consciousness. And when we stop being so very busy, let me just unmute Rochelle. When we are stopping to be so busy, then of course your sensitivity to a wider field of frequencies is there. And I think that's when you start tapping in the broader field. And the broader field at the moment is, we talked about in the last 2 days, is that of worry, anxiety, and fear. So the decision is now, and I think we all can feel that to a degree, and the decision is now, what do you want to do with this? So what do you want to do with this, Claudia?
I want to get rid of it, but in a good way, that it benefits me, benefits everyone around me.
Yeah.
But it's a new type of anxiety that I don't think we've ever felt before.
Yeah.
A new of anxiousness about not knowing what's going to happen after the 21 days. Will this carry on? Will it stop? What will the world look like after these days have passed?
Yeah.
And you don't really have those answers, so all you can do is live in the now, in the present.
Yeah. So when we spoke yesterday, when Rochelle joined me, we talked about that what we need right now is patience and trust. Okay. And if you believe in the concept that we are all connected, that would then mean that if you sort yourself out, then you have done your contribution to the greater consciousness. Does that make sense? So if the whole world kind of simultaneously would drop the worry, the anxiousness, the anxiety, and whatever, then we wouldn't have it.
I had this image that we are all almost like cell phone towers, and where we all positioned at the moment, we're pinging to each other. So if we're pinging better energy, the energy that's flowing around will be better for all of us. So if we consciously do that together, so that's how I imagine it to be. We're all exactly where we are supposed to be because of the fact that it's an energy field that has been formed.
Yeah. So my suggestion is that you honor that feeling and you try not to have a negative approach to it, but a neutral one. You just approach it, you acknowledge it, and then you need to see what you can do to bring yourself, as we said yesterday, that it doesn't make you slip into in a dark pit, but that you can kind of step out of it. And the simplest way is to have different thoughts. You might also not choose that. You might say, I want to sit with this for a while, because it's obviously pressing some of your own buttons. Yeah, so you can say, this is globally, and I think I experience this global anxiety, but what stories come up in me? And then of course there's a couple of options. You can either go into them and really look at the shadows, or you can say, well, I feel ready, I can just let it go, I'll work through it. The approaches, they are manifold.
what does everyone else think? I'd just like to hear what
I think
other
that's a
people are.
really, really beautiful way of looking at it.
You're quite soft, Rochelle.
Let me try and hold the cell phone closer to my mouth.
Yeah.
Can you hear better now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. This is my first Zoom meeting,
Mine
so
too.
I don't know anything about it. So I don't even know if there's video or not on my side.
No, there's no video.
I really loved that concept. Something I believe very strongly that each one of us is a part of the whole, a reflection of the whole, and that our place in this on this planet is unique, and our purpose being there to resonate at a frequency that is positive, with not only for ourselves but for all those we love, that we are connected to. And then in terms of all the things that are coming out of the understanding of quantum physics, the connected subatomic particles, even across massive, across light years, they resonate together at the exact same time, and we are all a part of that. Every single cell of our body is millions of particles, of quantum particles, and everything we do counts. So yeah, that's beautiful, Claudia. I really love that.
Yeah, I think this is just the truth. And if we understand that we can start making a difference, it always starts with us. And it's not not supposed to be a burden. It's supposed to be an opportunity. And when you heal it in you, you give your contribution to the rest of the world.
Exactly.
If you're interested, I had some thoughts. What I want to talk about, maybe for more than just today, is something I would like to call emotional and spiritual hygiene.
Nice. Good concept. I'd love to know more.
So obviously, doing these talks, the half an hour that I spend in front of the screen doesn't touch the amount of energy that goes in from my consciousness and connecting with different consciousnesses and coming up with an idea. And I saw some WhatsApps or whatever you see so much at the moment, that day 3 starts already where when people are locked down together, they start becoming impatient with each other, because also maybe because they don't under ordinary circumstances have good communication skills. So I have an idea, and I really would like to try and share a screen. Can you believe how can you see that
I can. Right.
Okay, I don't know whether you have to have your camera on to see it. I've got no clue. As I say, this is my first one too.
You can zoom it as well. You can zoom it up.
Yeah, we can all see it. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So the idea was born actually, or is borrowed from the medicine wheel, where you have, your different directions and the different animals aligned to that. But that's only what fueled me to come up with this. So there are 4 phases of growth, of manifestation even. And I hope I can get my concept through to you. So we do this all the time. So as a person, you're sitting on this wheel and you're going through those 4 phases, and I'm going to talk about them in a moment. But you do this also in various different aspects in your life. So you might do it for work. You might be in a different phase than where you are in your relationships or with your personal relationship with yourself. But if you were to zoom out, once I've explained the various phases, when you zoomed out, and you would say, me as a complex pocket of consciousness, in which phase am I sitting here? Then you can actually take this lockdown, apart from one phase where it's a little bit more interesting, as a opportunity. So it will start with contemplation and gathering. It's a non-doing phase. It's a phase where we we need to be still in order to get inspired. We have inspiration. Whether the inspiration comes from outside or inside, it doesn't really matter. You might think it's linked to an idea or something you saw or heard, or maybe it's your higher self speaking, or whatever it may be. And then there is a phase where you marinate in that idea. And it starts blossoming, it starts getting direction, it starts getting meaning, kind of saying. So, and of course, the length of these phases is very individual. Some people are faster, some concepts are faster than others. So having this time where you can't really do much, if you are in this phase of contemplation, gathering information, marinating in this inspiration, it's a wonderful time to do that. And then comes the point where we feel that we got enough now. Now we want to kind of get going. But between collecting information and actually get going, there's something needed. So, for example, you might know quite a few people that constantly have ideas, but they never realize them. They don't put them into practicality. And so what one needs to do or get in the next phase is courage and momentum. And again, this is different for everybody, where do you get the courage from, right? But you need that ignition, so to speak, to go into the next phase. And before I go to the next phase, the gaining momentum, the courage phase is also, the lockdown time is really cool for that, because you have time to think, what kind of resources do I need to get that ignition going? What resources, what inner shadows must I overcome? Why am I fearing taking that, what I contemplated, and get it out into the world? And once you've done that, you come into this powerful phase of action and power and drive and implementation. And that, of course, is a phase, if you are in that one, now being locked down with limited resources might be a little bit, what would I say, difficult, because and with your hands tied and you can't get going, might require a lot of self-awareness and understanding and saying, okay, but you may.
May I comment there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Something I've been noticing in my life recently, where I've actually, in my personal life, been having steadily fewer and fewer resources available. It's a really powerful time to enjoy the opportunity of limited resources, because you'll find a lot of psychological studies that show the more choice one has can become more paralyzing. Even salespeople are taught to give not too many, try and sort of narrow down the choices, give key instead of people walking in, look at the whole room full of furniture, narrow down what do I want, and then pick sort of one of three or one of four. But so when we're in these times where we may feel our hands are tied, that is a powerful message to look in a different direction to where our existing resources are, right where we are in this moment, and move forward in that direction from where we are right now.
Yeah. It also is an opportunity to find different ways of actioning. You know, you might be used to the old ways. And look what I'm doing here right now. I've been talking about doing these kind of videos for a long time, and only now, under these circumstances, do I actually action this, because my old behavior would have been gathering a group of people and doing in that format, which is not possible right now. But I'm in that phase where I really want to action things, so I found a different way.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. So if I may, let me just finish this, and then I would like to discuss that with you. So when that phase is over, comes a phase that I think, when I speak about myself, definitely I sometimes don't pay enough attention to. So when you've done all of this and you actioned it, again, time is very relative here. It is different depending on the topic and on the person and so on. But there should come a time where you stand back and you evaluate, you extract and collect the wisdom of the cycle that you have just done. And only when you stand back and evaluate it, even if what you've done here might not have been perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect, it never will be perfect, but to consolidate, to say, okay, in these phases, how did I deal with it? Where could I have done things maybe differently? Where can I do them more powerfully? Or whatever your collection of information is, which also includes being proud of yourself for having done this, and giving yourself a pat on the shoulder, and also understand.
Very important.
Yes. What did you say?
I say so important, that being proud and giving yourself that pat on the back for doing it. We forget.
Yeah, I just can speak for myself that I'm just rushing into the next growth phase, sometimes without even taking a breath. You know, I'm going back into kind of hibernation, and I think, okay, so what's next? What's next? And then I have stepped over. I didn't take the juice out of that really important fourth step. So how do I unshare this? Stop sharing. Here we are. So that's the kind of concept that I think, if we lock down with other people and we are not in the same phase, and we have a sensitive awareness to others, then perhaps we can develop more patience by maybe detecting in the other person they are really in the powerful action implementation phase, and they are frustrated because they can't action that now, you know. So I think it could help create more awareness with the ones that we are now confined with. Okay, there's more people joining us. This is so cool. Does anybody want to say something about this?
I see Ilka's here. Hello, Ilka.
Yeah, I think she's joining us from Turkey. I unmuted her, and Mandy is also here. Beautiful people. So this wheel of growth happens simultaneously in various areas of our life. So if you go back to day one, when I suggested that you make a preparation list and you make different categories, you probably have one of those growth discs for any of those categories. And if you sit with that for a little while, or maybe you know it instantaneously, you'll say, I know exactly where I am in my phase. And I think it's so helpful because it slows us down a little bit and appreciate whatever phase we are in. Yes? No? Maybe?
Hello? Yeah, who's on a call?
Can you hear me?
Is that Mandy?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
shit, I wasn't sure. Okay, at least I know now that you can hear me. I
Yes.
better be careful. Noted.
Okay, Mandy. So you joined a little bit later, but I hope you got that little concept of
Hmm,
of
I've
growth.
been listening all the time.
Okay, okay. And how does that resonate with you, Mandy?
I think it reminds me completely of how you live. I watch you do it. You put it into practice with every idea that you get.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very impressive trait to have, and one that I'm almost scared to apply because I think it's the fear of actually doing those things that stops me, not the the drive, but the fear of taking on more things. If that makes sense.
Say that last sentence again, please. The fear of?
I think it's the fear of taking on more things in my life. So if I have an idea which may be great, and I actually put it into action, it means that I'm committed to doing more things in my already crazy life.
I don't know, Mandy. You're doing it anyway. I don't think we
Okay.
can. I don't think we can be human beings without being human doings, because we create all the time. And it's not I'm learning a new skill or I'm learning a new hobby. It's not necessarily about that. It's just
The
having
little things.
Dissecting the process and really appreciating where I am. I'll give you an example. You might say,
Mm.
okay, I need to action this, I need to action this. But why aren't you actioning it? Because either you haven't gathered enough information or you haven't gathered enough courage or momentum to action it. So then you
Fair
can
enough.
sit back and say, this is absolutely wonderful. I'm not actioning it because something doesn't sit with me properly yet. So where am I actually in this wheel? Am I in gathering information, or am I gathering courage, or what is it? So you're doing this
Makes
process
perfect sense.
without you even wanting it. But making it conscious and dissecting it into this, I think it makes you more powerful because
Mhm.
it gives you more mastery over the process.
More awareness.
Yeah,
It makes us more aware that it's happening. Otherwise, it kind of passes by and we don't even notice it.
exactly, exactly. And and even if we are with people who are not open to discuss or consider such concepts, if we have the awareness with others, then I think it will help us to be more patient.
Could do. Insight.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe what we do tomorrow, we come back to this a little bit. And now that you can maybe just marinate in it and just see how you feel about it, maybe some of you have something to say tomorrow. The one thing that I promised or announced that I wanted to talk to as well is also in line with what Claudia is going through at the moment, feeling the anxiety of the whole place, is you can change your state. You all can do that. You know that you can do it. You are master at it already. So, for example, if you watch a movie or something or read a book and you get emotional about it because there are some pixels on your screen, then it's proof that because you give it emotional content and you have certain thoughts and emotions about it, you go into a state. Okay, so this is
Mhm.
proof that we can do it and that we can do it all the time. So, for example, when we take the Claudia's as an example, I'm feeling this anxiety, and I either want to sit with it, I want to reflect where does it touch me, or I want to disconnect from it. You have everything to deal with it. It's for you. But if you say, no, this is getting too much, I'm too much of an empath, this is just getting me down the rabbit hole, then to change your, sorry, there's a message coming up here from Zoom that distracted me for a moment. To change your state is really quite easy. So just all you need to do, and we can make this a proper visualization another time, but you will just go in your in a quiet space, and the best way to connect with yourself is always through breathing. Okay, just long, slow breath, and go inside, and then connect with yourself at a time when you felt really good. And the reason why I say really good, and I'm not specifying what I mean by that, feeling good may mean something else for anybody at any given time. And then get into that state, feel that state. And Bentino Massaro says it actually quite nicely. He says, make that your preference. You make that state your preference because it is your choice. So you will be distracted. Your ego will say, no, 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 but look at the world. There's all these things happening. How can we stay in a feel-good feeling? And you simply report or respond to yourself, because I make it my preference. Okay. Do you think you
really true.
understand that, or do I need to explain that a bit more?
No, that's very clear.
Yeah. So I find when I wake up in the morning, I remember where I would go straight into worrying and into anxiety. I remember those times, and most of the times I don't do that anymore. So usually when I wake up, I'm feeling really good. And now I have this awareness, and I trained myself for such a long time. And if I'm feeling really good, I say, I want to carry this state through this day or better. And then I need to support it, of course. I need to do things for myself to keep that state. And it's not always possible. Sometimes it doesn't last until breakfast time. But sometimes it does. Okay.
Mm.
You can look what you're doing to the rest of the world. I think this is what they mean when they say you shine your light or you are a light worker. It really means you're taking good care of yourself and then spread it out.
Makes sense.
We have to take responsibility for who we are. I mean, who do you want to blame? A little thingy that you can't even hardly see under a microscope. They gave it the name of COVID-19. You can get as angry as you want. I don't think it will care. So make your preferred state your preference. What we've done is under normal, we are on autopilot. We are on autopilot, and when we are on autopilot, that means that the world around us is just pushing us around like a leaf in the wind. Sometimes it comes from there, sometimes it comes from there. And if we are completely unaware, then we blame the wind for where we are and how we feel. And I think in these times, this is a perfect opportunity to say, this is my responsibility, and what an amazing opportunity that is. Because only you can make you feel good, and only you can make you feel bad. Others just try to have a big say in it. So maybe we should close off by everybody who wants to speak. Just say how you doing under the circumstances, and maybe a topic you want to discuss. So Claudia, do you want to check out like that?
I think just for me, you've given me some things to think about, and staying with the feeling, I think, is also something that is actually worth trying to actually understand it. What is it that it's actually touching in me, and not just letting it pass by. I think it's actually a gift to feel these things and to have the time to be able to process without interruption.
Okay, anybody else wants to say something?
Hi, yes, Janine speaking.
Who is speaking now?
Janine.
Okay, go ahead.
So, for myself, it's this this situation has kind of thrown me off balance, in a sense that I like to compartmentalize. So I have my work, and I have my family, and I have my studies or my health, whatever it is, in all different buckets, and I keep it in separate buckets, and I attend to each bucket when it's required. So this situation has kind of thrown all the buckets out into one bucket, and it feels a bit chaotic, not knowing where to focus my energy. And it's thrown me off a bit, and it's put me into a quite an anxious state where I feel a bit out of control, not knowing where to focus the energy. And I know this by two things. Firstly, obviously physiological, so there's a very tight feeling in my stomach, and then secondly, with my behavior, it's quite irrational. It seems to be, I'm irritable with silly things, and I'm aware of this happening, and I've made the decision to, exactly like you say, we have a responsibility to find that space, and with that energy, it's shared with everyone. So I'm trying to focus on the more of the positive space and keep that with me and hold on to it. I'm finding it more challenging to hold on to it, though. It feels like it's a habitual thing for me to fly out of that space very quickly before I can catch it or become aware of it. And then I evaluate it afterwards and see, oh, this is happening, but how do I catch it before it happens?
Would you like me to comment?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I understand. That's why I started off, and I don't know whether you've seen that, on the very first day, I said, prepare yourself, because what you have been describing in your personal way, I think many, many of us go through right now. And that's why I suggested you make a little spreadsheet with your categories in your life and list things that you want to do in that category. So there's your buckets again. You see, they might not be exactly the same buckets, because some you might not be able to utilize, but there's your buckets. And if you live in a compartmental world and that suits you, then doing that might help you to have a framework in which to operate. Then I said, and it's the same here, if you now have this list and you feel an uneasiness happening, or even before the uneasiness comes, jump on that list from joy to joy. So find something on that list that you says, what is that sound? Find something on that list, Janine, that suits you right now, and give it your full concentration. And only when you come to the end of that, whatever it is, say, okay, what would be the next thing on my list or not on my list that would resonate with me now? So that way, you restructuring your compartments to suit you in the circumstances that you find yourself in now. That's my response.
Mhm. That's quite useful. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. On that Freedom Center Facebook page, I made a little, there's what you call it, a post with a photo of a spreadsheet if you need an idea, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Okay, is anybody else wanting to say something to check out?
I've got something positive to say.
Lovely, yay!
I have to say, I'm not sure if I should be feeling guilty about it or not, but I'm loving the isolation. I really and truly am.
How beautiful is that? So you're using
I'm telling you,
fantastic. You
I love it.
bring out the juice that suits you. Fantastic.
The thing is, though, that I'm just doing everything that makes me happy. I'm finding time to appreciate the small things. I'm no longer stressed out. I'm calm. Look, obviously, if things change in the outside world, which I'm trying not to take too much on board at the moment and to stay present, because right now we're okay. And right now I'm in a good space. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay,
The
keep that up.
blessing of no traffic. The blessing of no traffic.
Well, it doesn't really matter because you can't go out and drive your Ferrari on an empty road. Okay, so there's a couple of things I want to talk about in the next couple of days. So you've got that state now, Mandy. Now make that your preference. Stubbornly refuse to go into anything lesser than that. It might still happen, but because we're only human. But if you make that your intention, I want to hold that because it really suits me, or better. And then we can talk about how to anchor that in your body. We can talk about how to make affirmations. We can talk about many things in the days to come. And if you have any topics you want to talk about, we can also start a day and throwing all preempted kind of ideas for the next day, and we're just going to discuss what you would like to discuss. Okay.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Cool. So now let's see whether
Wonderful day.
whether Zoom is actually recording this so that I can put it on the Facebook. So let's see what's happening. This is the next learning curve. I wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you for joining. Spread the word if you think that other people might benefit from this. And see you soon, tomorrow at 11. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.